with David Ian and Kate Dale.
The show that plumbs the depths of mediocrity, celebrates the ordinary, and enjoys the everyday.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mediocre Gay, the podcast. I'm Kate Dale.
And I'm David Ian.
So, David, tell us about your week. What's the most mediocre thing you've been up to this week? One of many things, I imagine.
The mediocre thing that's on my brain at the moment is Prosecco.
And when you say it's on your brain...
it's physically flowing through my body, right? And it's leaving my pores as we speak.
I was going to say, for those listening and watching, be very glad there's no such thing as smell-o-vision, because it's like a living, walking...
I'm incredibly sweaty right now.
Did someone indulge in too much Prosecco last night, perhaps?
Yeah, and I don't understand why people like it. I don't actually like Prosecco, and it made me unfathomably...
Unable to speak?
Yeah.
Inarticulate? Lost for words?
Yeah, like
Great, this is going to be my favourite podcast ever.
It had a much more profound effect on me than other stuff. I don't know. Like, I just got drunk much quicker.
You kind of answered the question.
That's why people like it.
Yeah.
It was just, anyway, yeah.
It's basically sugar, water, fire juice that gets people as drunk
but I
as
didn't
possible.
want to be that drunk. That's the thing. Because we had this to do today.
Were you tied down and was it poured down your throat?
No.
So you voluntarily drank something you didn't like drinking on a night that you shouldn't have drunk it. So is it really yourself that we should be discussing here in Prosecco?
Yeah,
Whose fault is it?
It's all my fault. I fell asleep on the bus home. I woke up in Liverpool Street and I live nowhere near Liverpool Street.
That call at 4 a.m. when I got my smug Uber home. It's like, I'm in Liverpool Street. You weren't crying, sorry.
My voice was lower than that.
Yes.
It wasn't. My panicked voice isn't even higher.
All the way
anyway.
home. Yeah.
Hi,
okay,
Mum.
now I think... so
I don't understand. Mid-30s, I fell asleep on a bus home. Anyway, who have we got today? Because I'm very excited about this podcast.
We have got a fantastic author and broadcast journalist, Daniel Harding, who has recently published a fantastic book. Hold to come a gay man talking.
Man.
And sorry, that's
just one.
One job, Kate.
He didn't want all of us to have a voice.
No. So, welcome to Mediocre Gay, the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks. What an introduction.
Epic, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And just for everyone watching or listening, I can smell.
Great. Thanks for that. That's nice.
And you smell lovely.
Thanks.
Oh, if you like 2-day old Prosecco.
I don't like Prosecco either.
Right, it's horrible.
Overrated.
I agree. I wasn't tied down and it poured down me, but that's what people were drinking.
That might be more fun, actually, to take it that way.
Maybe. I do remember at one point I insisted on having 2 glasses. Wow. I think I was worried that it would I wouldn't get my share. Anyway, I'm not coming out well from this. Great. So, Daniel, we've read the book. And I've been hugely excited to do this podcast because there is a huge amount of similarities between your book and my show, Mediocre Gay. Covers a lot of the same topics. One's funnier than the other. The book is hilarious. What made you decide? How did you reach the point that you were like, I'm going to put this into the book?
I think basically as a journalist, I did a lot of different articles, and one that stood out was about being the gay best friend. And I kind of had this love-hate relationship with it. I have a fantastic group of sort of straight girls who were brilliant friends and allies as I was growing up, but they kind of, not for any fault of their own, but called me their GBF or gay best friend. And I hated it because I felt labelled. I felt really uncomfortable with it. So I did this feature about it. And afterwards, it just sparked so many different conversations that I hadn't had. And I realised that actually when I came out, I thought the job had been done. And I stopped talking, stopped having those conversations, thought everyone was all right with it and wanted to move on, and kind of didn't want to really address that area of my life and just move forward with it. And then after publishing, obviously, the feature, loads of people started wanting to talk to me and ask me questions and, are you all right with this? Or how did you really feel then back then? And all these things. And it made me actually want to sort of delve into those conversations and actually have like, okay, I roll up my sleeves and have these awkward, uncomfortable conversations. I realised I actually hadn't spoken to my parents about how they felt, hadn't spoken to like friends about how they dealt with it, or like the different things that I had been called, or like my dad and mum had no idea that I was bullied. And there were so many areas of my life that I hadn't sort of shared, and I'd lived in secret. And I thought, fuck it. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck it. I thought, fuck it. Like, let's actually have these conversations and get a bit uncomfortable. And actually, what I found was the idea that I had of everyone and how they felt was completely wrong.
I found it really interesting because, so I read this book while I was on holiday with my parents.
Did it spark conversation?
So
yes, is the right answer.
yes, it absolutely did. But actually what happened was I have mentioned on more than one occasion about the fact that, like I wonder if parents should read books about raising queer children. And then I sort of mentioned this to my mum at the beginning of the holiday. And I started reading the book on the flight, and I had an unfortunate flight. So I only read like 30 pages or something at the start. And then my mum was like, well, go on, then let me read your book. And all of a sudden I was like, no, because I haven't read it yet. And so I felt like I needed to vet how gay it was.
Yeah. That's
before
like
I let her, right? Because multiple times I've spoken about getting my parents to read The Velvet Rage. But I feel like in my head, when I eventually like issue them with a copy, that it needs to come with like a load of, I think I've spoken to you about this before, a load of like, this bit doesn't apply to me. I didn't deal with things like that's not, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like but then that kind of defeats the whole point.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to cloud how they, like, I'm still trying to protect how they see that bit of me.
That's the thing, that's what I found really hard, because for so long in my life, and my dad says it perfectly, I had kept a little bit secret and like hidden parts. Like I didn't want to really divulge to my dad that predominantly at school, my group of friends were girls. And I felt ashamed of that and like really uncomfortable with that being my truth. And so I kind of didn't really talk to my dad like about that sort of side of things. And he felt really shut off, didn't know what was happening. And actually, when I came out to him at 18, he said he felt so relieved because he thought, okay, now everything's making sense. I feel like I'm not a failure. And I never knew he had all these feelings that because of how I was acting and how I was. And I did that. Like I put boxes and thought, right, you don't need to hear about that.
Yeah.
You don't need to know about that. No one needs to know about my sex life. So that's all fine. And everyone just shut up and get on with it. I swept it under the carpet. But it's really not. We come out, we shut up. We shouldn't. We can continue conversations.
I absolutely loved your book. It was revelatory, I think, in so many ways, and in so many ways that felt like they shouldn't be. It might, as you say, so many common themes and connections with your show as well, that it was really interesting looking at them both. One of the many, there's a couple of things that I particularly loved, and just reflecting on then is, I think in the past, ideas of coming out, I think to parents it's a very binary, I'm not sure that's the right word, but it's a very black and white thing. They either accept you and it's all fine and it's a celebration, or you're thrown out. I'm being overly flippant about something terrible, but it's seen as that. But there's sort of the ripples, and you allowing them to have their feelings and thoughts and reflections and reactions without it taking away from you needing to be who you are. But it does have an impact. And I think there probably is something for parents of all children, actually, as the children grow up to be whoever they are, if that's different to what they thought it would be, and it will be because we're all individuals, allowing them to find that complex as well, I think, and have their thoughts.
Yeah, it was really interesting actually, because I find that actually when you come out, it's quite a selfish process, isn't it? Like it's about me. Yeah. And actually in having those conversations, that's exactly what I sort of found out, that there were struggles and there were things like, it's not about homophobia or not accepting or any of that. It's more about like, my sister was going through her own thing, and she kind of felt like, and I say it in her sort of chapter, she felt plain because I now had something that was almost making me more colourful and separated me from the norm. And she was almost envious at the time, and we had this real struggle and stuff. And she really struggled, not because she didn't support me or love me or accept me, but because she was going through her thing. And I think that's the key thing. Like when you're coming out, especially to a quite heterosexual family, you do need to like consider their feelings or what they're going through. And I say it in the parent chapter, but you do really become the teacher, because you start like teaching them a new way of like living.
My brother was actually really upset that he was pretty much the last person sort of in the family group that I told, and it really surprised me. And the reason why he was asked is because I was the most nervous about telling him. My brother is nearly 3 years younger than me, but he's just the complete opposite of me. He's very cool, and just like everything was just like he was very popular and like good at sports, and he's really smart, and so I felt like I couldn't like tell him like that awful thing, but he was like delighted, and he was really great actually. And I remember being so shocked about the fact that he was upset that I hadn't told him. But I found you mentioned your girlfriends at school, which I thought was really interesting because I went to an all boys school.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have.
You.
Well, you would think, but no. It's all the bullying, but without any of the allies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had one amazing friend who, like, we're still friends to this day. He's like my oldest friend, and he like a really amazing human being. But reading that, I was like, I really feel like if I'd have gone to a mixed school, probably that would have really helped me. Because I think I struggled because there wasn't as many like girls around. In other parts of my life, I made other female friends, but in that school environment, I think I really sort of missed that.
Yeah, I can't imagine actually. I actually went and did the exams to try and I wasn't smart enough to get into the all boys school.
You did the 11 plus?
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that I did, because like you say, like I actually think those girls saved my life. Like I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have them.
Yeah.
And although potentially it enforced like people to bully because I was in that sort of group, it actually helped me so much to have like that acceptance.
I can tell you they would have still bullied you.
I think the point you make about bullying, I thought that was, I mean, and that is universal. It's the confidence, isn't it? If you're not confident, they will find whatever it is that makes a difference. That was a real like, oh, moment for me, a bit of a light bulb moment. I hadn't thought I feel like he wasn't bullied, but then it's probably the people who I hang out with, mainly you. But
a really interesting conversation like with a bully.
Yeah.
Really fascinating. I mean, I talk, let's go quite explicitly, about one of my bullies in my show. And so to read, it's actually made me consider contacting my bully. I changed my mind because with what I
when he hears your show, is going to be contacting you anyway, David.
Yeah. Via a legal representative. So
you can just wait for that police knock on the door.
But like, it made me. It was a really interesting perspective to get, especially from a bully that is now out. Like, it really fascinating. That was such all the conversations I found really interesting, actually. Some of them which would apply to me and some wouldn't. Like I say, I've got a brother and not a sister. And I don't think I really perform the role of gay son. Like, my mum doesn't massively enjoy shopping with me. In fact, she hates shopping with me because I'm like, try this on. And my mum's quite like, she has a certain style that works for her and that she's comfortable with. And I'm trying to like get her in sparkly things. And so I don't think, and my mum doesn't really wear makeup or anything like that. So we never did any of that. So I guess that element of it, I was sort of like, oh, I wonder what that would be like. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing that role.
I think sometimes, like and especially when I was conscious of this when I was writing it, I didn't want it to be like, this is the way for everyone, and it's completely not. And everyone's going to tailor different bits about like bullying and feeling confident and stuff to them. And I hope that that's what people actually take from it, because this isn't a one size fits all, and it definitely doesn't. Because like in the parent chapter, I speak with Mufseen, who had a completely different upbringing and outcome to his coming out. And I think that was really important for me. This isn't a book that's about, this is the way it is. This is a book that this was the way it was for me, and these are the conversations I'm having to hear about other people. But all I want to do is encourage people to like have those conversations for themselves.
So our thing about stand-up is always that we think it's really important. You tell your own story, and then everybody, it's specific to you, but everybody finds the personal for them within that. That's how it works. That's why we get very annoyed at comedians that tell other people's stories. You know, a straight white man who tries to tell a joke about being gay. Yeah, that's when it gets offensive, because you're not speaking from your own like lived experience. But if you tell it, like, and you were saying about like these experiences being relevant to lots of people, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, excuse me, and I think it's really important. This is a book that is specifically about growing up as a gay male, I think, and one specific gay male as well, as you say. But there's so much in there that I think is universally relatable, and there'll be different aspects of it. And I feel the same about your show as well. I wish we could make sure that more straight people came and saw them, came and read them, and came and consumed it, because I think it would be part of their education. Sounds vaguely sinister in some way, but learning, understanding what it's like to grow up feeling different, being othered, inadvertently othered usually. And I think given how much more open and inclusive we are as a society, I think obviously things are a hell of a lot better than they were. There's still a long way to go, and I think there's an awful lot that the straight
100%.
world needs to understand about that. And I think by opening themselves up to listening to gay stories without expecting them to be the entertainment and the, oh my goodness me, I don't know what voice that was meant to be, but
That's the voice you do when you're being me.
Oh, yeah, isn't it? That's my,
dare
not
you.
ideal. That's my David Ian impression.
Not ideal.
I think, because I quite like, and I mean this from a nice place, the mundanity of a lot of it. It's the little things. And I think we went through that phase, and we probably still do, where obviously to be a gay character in a film or book is to die young or die horribly or to be beaten up, and all these terrible, big, epic, tragic things. I think what really shines through me on both your stories is it's day-to-day bits of tragedy, and it's day-to-day things that are making life difficult. And that's
Day-to-day tragedy. That's a horrific thing to say.
Maybe tragedy
That's what you like.
Hey, we all have our kink, and no kink shaming here. But tragedy might be too strong, but it's the day-to-day little bits of it, not
think
the
that's-
homophobic attack those as well. But
No, and I think that's the thing, and allyship is so important. And I think more of the heterosexual community should be speaking out and should be obviously standing with us. And I've said many a times that this book isn't just for our community or just for the gay man. It's for everyone to sort of understand identity and what people go through and the different conversations that you might have with different people. And it's very much for our allies and the heterosexual community as well, because everyone's got to understand each other, right?
Well, it's all, basically what it means is go and have the conversations. I mean, you say at the end of the book, go and have the conversations with people, and that applies to everyone. And the most important one to have is with yourself. Again, something I talk about in the show. Like, I dated myself for a period.
Oh, I love that.
People thought it was weird.
Are you married yet?
No, it didn't work out between us.
Oh, I hate it when you still live together.
He won't leave me alone. But
Follow you everywhere.
It was a really important period. It was after quite a long relationship, and I felt like I really needed to spend some time actually understanding who I was and getting to know myself. And I've come out the other side of that in a really a much stronger way. I actually went for actual dates on my own, where I would actively, when you go on a first date and you'll try to get to know someone, so you'll ask them questions. So I would go for dinner and I'd be like, right, what would I be asking? What would I, so that I was really thinking about stuff, which I know sounds really weird, but I think it was really useful. And I think in a way that this is what the book would prompt people to do, to reassess. And I think, what are the conversations that I haven't had with people?
I wonder, because I came out as bisexual at 50 a couple of years ago. In March 2020, it wasn't ideal timing, really. So 2 years,
Time, yeah.
absolutely.
Just going to say, you came out and then
the world
ended.
The world said, oh no, we'll lock ourselves away.
Yeah, you came out, the world went in.
Yeah, basically. And so tell my family, mainly through stand-up, which is possibly not the best way either, but I haven't thought about, and in fact I make jokes about how my teenage nephews and nieces don't particularly want to discuss it, because who wants to think about their older families' sex lives? But there is so much more to it than sex. And it's making me think that I should be thinking about that and having those conversations.
That is such a common view, and I thought the same. I thought, oh gosh, there's so many areas of my life that my parents, my friends, people that I've live with or whatever want to know about or don't want to know about, and it's all in your mind, because you kind of think well, unless you ask them, unless you have those conversations,
you won't know, will you?
My dad didn't love reading about the sex chapter. It's in there, and I did say skip it if you want to, but he read it, and he's fine with it, and it is.
But do you know what?
Can I ask you both about that, actually, because you've both done this in the shows. I think we're going to ask the question is, you have then been presenting your parents with some quite explicit information, and
I mean, he had the benefit of doing it in a book.
Yeah,
in person.
Yeah, I was in the room with them. I could see everyone swiveling and looking at them. But how? The question for me, what is the question from that? How difficult was that? How much warning did you give them?
Do you know what? Like, it's so funny because I thought the conversations were going to be the hardest part, and they were. Some of them were really like draining, and afterwards I was really like, oh, I felt emotionally drained. But actually, after people have read the book, and especially the people who are in the book and actually digested those conversations, I've realised it sparks so much more, and I'm having so many more conversations, which is great. But people have so many questions, and not just about their chapter or the bit that they're related to, about other things, and it's just like conversation I never thought I'd have and never want to have. Like my dad said to me yesterday, actually, about being bullied at school and stuff. And he had no idea that I went through any of that, like literally no idea. And he was just like reading it. He said that he really had to like put it down and like really pick it up and stuff. And as a parent, he said he found it really hard because you go back to that moment, you think, well, where was I at that time? Why wasn't I there? And like, I never noticed these things. And it's really interesting to sort of like have those conversations and actually publish a book full of them. And you're almost like we were talking about earlier, you're putting so much of your true self out there.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard process because you're going to get it back. You're going to get people coming to you and say, hey, well, this was my experience, or this was what I went through.
It triggers other conversations,
really
doesn't
does.
it? I mean, I think from my point of view, one of the things, having my parents come and see my stand-up, like when I go and do mixed bill stuff or when I do my solo show, it turns out all my stand-up is remarkably sex heavy. And
I need to come and see this. You
now
do
made
flash,
it sound
don't you?
like a sex show.
The show's called Mediocre Gay. I mean, like, it's all mediocre. But I think looking back, I think I probably didn't give my mum and dad enough credit for, like, I was really worried about them hearing all this stuff. And, I mean, obviously what I'm doing is making a joke out of sex and things like that. And sometimes it's a bit graphic. And I think I really underestimated my parents because they were fine. Like, my dad laughs all the time at it. Like, and people comment to me when they come and see it, and when they see that he's in the audience at a show, that, oh, your dad was loving it. He was laughing at all the sex stuff. And I'm like, well, my dad and I have the same sense of humor. Like, so he thinks it's funny. And so I think that feels like a representation, actually, of the conversation that I've never had with them, because we don't talk about sex. So I had no idea whether they would be okay. And I suppose if there was anything that I felt like I needed to have a conversation about, I probably could.
I think it's one of those things where actually you have these preconceived like judgments of those conversations or how people are going to react to your show and stuff. Actually, like, these are people who love you and who have been with you most of your life, hopefully. And you can't really second guess them. They're going to react how they're going to react. Plus, also, our parents or friends or whatever have gone through all of their own stuff.
Exactly.
And they've
I was going to say, we forget that. We think of them as the one, especially parents, because all they are is mum and dad. It's not all. That's everything they are. It's all and everything.
But you forget that there are people around that
with
as
their
well.
own internal monologues
I mean,
as well. And everything.
in my show, there's some information gets revealed in it that I thought would be really difficult for my parents to hear. And I'd never told anyone before. And so when the show was being debuted, about 3 days before, I rang my mum and dad and I said, look, there's something comes up in the show and I'm going to give you the option that I can either tell you tomorrow, which was like 2 days before, so it was like, I don't want to do it on the day, so that you can process it privately, or you can experience it as it's been designed in the show, but it will be with everybody else. And I assumed, because we spoke about it extensively, I was like, they're going to want me to tell them, and I feel like that will destroy the show a little bit. But that's, for them, that's what they want, and I can respect that. That's what I would want. And they called me out the next day, and they were like, "No, we'll see it in the show. Everybody else." They were amazing, honestly. So I think they're so much stronger because they've led their own lives. And that gave me a lot of strength.
Your line about vulnerability being both weak and strong, I love that. I think there's something really.
Do you know Brene
powerful
Brown?
in that.
no.
Oh, God.
Should I? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you look really nervous there.
Delete that.
So you're going to have some homework after this. Brene Brown is a shame and vulnerability researcher.
Okay.
She has the third most watched TED Talk of all time. And it's on...
David, you're doing that tone of voice when you think
I know.
people should
I know,
know
I
things.
feel like
It goes into...
You have to. It's so important. Her TED Talk, The Power of
She's great.
Vulnerability, has had like 50 or 60 million views now. And I mean, she's changed my entire life. But you would find her really, like, it's 20 minutes, watch the TED Talk. It's like, it's all about exactly what you're saying about vulnerability being, we're taught that it's weak, but actually it's a great strength. And that's what, like, that the book is so vulnerable, but that's what makes it really strong.
I think that's as well the reason, like, and I'm sure you guys do with your obviously shows and stuff, but I think that's why it's important for it not to be a too heavy book, because there are so many heavy sort of subjects and moments and stuff in my life which I actually have like really suffered at the time, but I'm fine and I'm good now. And it was really important actually for me to be vulnerable, but also add some humor into it, because like, which I hope comes across. I'm not sure if it does always, but
it's funny.
But I think it's really important, like, because I knew that friends would read this. I knew that family would read it, but I also knew that people who don't know me at all will pick up this book and they need to have a bit of light, because you need light relief. Like, it's so important to have that shade and light.
I mean, I believe that comedy is the best way to, like, educate people.
I agree.
So my favourite movie of all time is 9 to 5.
Never heard of it. I'm joking.
Oh my god, I nearly committed murder on camera. This studio is white. There would have been blood everywhere.
I really got you.
I can see the back. I can see the face through the back of the head.
Gonna need a moment.
Sorry, I really ruined it.
Dolly, if you're watching, because we know you are.
She's a big fan. One of my favourite movies of all time is 9 to 5. And one of the facts that I really love about it is that Jane Fonda, who produced the movie as well as starring in it, felt like it was really important that it was written as a comedy, because she had a message about females in the workplace to get across, but that if it was a serious, movie, then the people that needed to see it wouldn't see it. But if you dressed it up as a comedy, like, the message would come across, and it's a message that's still relevant today. So yeah, I think that's, like, it's really important, and it is actually funny. I mean, my favourite thing in the book is that you constantly refer to stand-up comedians.
In fact, I do believe you say there, what's the line? Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did it just to get on this podcast.
And it worked.
Very smart. Job done. Very smart.
And so that I want to know, you then say that you can't tell jokes, which is clearly not true, because you've just played a blinder.
Oh, yeah.
What is the salad cream joke? This isn't a spoiler because you don't actually say it in the book.
It's such not a funny joke either. So I absolutely hate, like, I feel like, I don't know, well, you guys obviously do stand up, but I feel like when someone tells you to tell a joke,
can't do it.
Can't do it.
It's so hard. Don't have any jokes. Not in the stand up anyway.
So I literally have this one joke, which probably won't be funny at all, guys.
We'll laugh anyway. It's fine.
If I get this wrong, I'm so sorry. Okay, so a guy and a girl are on a date and they come home and he says, "Oh, do you want to come in?" They're just outside his front door. And she says, "Yeah, great." And he goes, "Okay, only thing is my parents are in, so we'll have to go upstairs." And so they go in, say hello to the parents, and they're going upstairs. And as they get to his door, he goes, "Oh, only thing is my brother's in the room, but it's a bunk bed, so don't worry. So we'll just be on the bottom bunk." And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "So obviously, like when we're having sex, if you need to sort of like ask me to slow down or speed up, we'll do lettuce for faster, tomato for slower." So she was just like, "Okay, cool." So
this is funny already, sorry.
So they go in and get onto the bottom bunk and they're having sex and she's enjoying it. She's screaming, "Lettuce, tomato, lettuce, tomato, lettuce, tomato." And it finishes. And then all of a sudden you hear a little voice from above the bunk. "Can you two stop making sandwiches? I've got salad cream in my eye." I'm not sure if I want that on there. I told you it's a horrible joke. So guys, that's why I should never tell jokes.
Yeah, no,
right?
Yeah, don't do comedy.
So you can choose whether you want that in or not.
Where did you get that from?
I can't remember. Like, that's such a like.
It's a really long joke as well to remember. Well, like, I mean,
I could give the longer version.
I just think when I can never remember jokes because they're like.
I hate jokes.
Can't
like
actually
that
remember
anyway.
them.
Like to actually say like a joke is
Yeah. Okay, let's do some actual podcast stuff. So the first question we normally ask people is, what does mediocre mean to you?
Okay, I had to think about this. So I think it means that when you're not quite there yet. So that for me is like mediocre. So I'm not quite where I want to be yet. And that is mediocre to me. So like sort of like Drag Race, for example. If you were, I don't know if this is good. God, your face is.
No, I was remembering. I love your giving away material now, but the are you Paul made me laugh.
For so long I thought that. I'm not even joking. I was so embarrassed. And people would say to me like, "Oh, RuPaul," and I was like, "Oh, I've not heard of that," because I read it. "Oh, you Paul." But yeah, I think mediocre is where like on Drag Race when they are just you're safe, and then they're not in the top, they're not in the bottom.
Yeah.
I feel like mediocre is coasting to me.
You kind of described it like it's a journey, like you're not quite there yet. So that implies that you think you will get there.
Absolutely, everyone's got to get there, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing.
I've always thought mediocre was just my destination.
Maybe that's fine.
Maybe that's fine. Maybe your journey then is to being okay with that.
Oh, he messaged the other day and said that he was having a mediocre day, and I was like, "You just need to lean into it." And he was like, "No," but I can't remember what you said. Oh yeah, I do remember. I'm not going to put that on here. But,
Was it better than the joke?
yeah, I do think it is about like just embracing it.
I feel like mediocre is that word that if you keep on saying it to yourself over and over, you start to hear it and think, "Oh no, I'm not saying it right anymore." Mediocre.
Yeah.
Like I was saying it before this podcast, and I was thinking, "Oh, am I saying that right?" I didn't want to come on and say
I can't spell
mediocre.
it. I say it like I've written it a million times now in the last year or something, and I literally have to think about how to spell it every single time. Well, yeah.
I might start calling it mediocre.
Mediocre.
Mediocre gay. Kind of, no. Okay. Right. So, second question. What's the second question? Yes. So can you tell us something that you think is fabulous, but maybe everyone else thinks is a bit mediocre or mediocre?
My moustache. At the moment, I'm getting so many mixed opinions. Or what's that? What's that on your face? Someone said to me the other day. Or yeah, okay. When are you going to shave it though? And I really love it. And I feel like perhaps no one can see it right now, but I really like it.
Oh, I'm sure they can see it.
See, I told you moustaches were making a comeback.
You did. Yeah, I would love to grow a moustache, but it feels like a lot of work.
Is it a lot of work?
No.
But you've got to clean shave this bit.
Your follicles do most of the work, David.
Yeah, but in order for it to work, you have to clean shave this bit. And what if you accidentally end up looking like a... I don't know if we can say that, can we?
I don't know what you said.
I do.
Was it that? Was it? Yeah.
I mean, the thing is...
I don't think that's necessarily an indicator of that particular depravity.
No, I know, but you don't like...
Porn star, isn't it? Like an old-fashioned porn star.
Oh, yeah.
Porn
star.
Yeah.
Porn stash, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I say mediocre because I feel like I've got such mixed opinions about it, but I actually love it and I really like it.
Do you do that with it? Do you?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
You get it?
Not that I need to.
Yeah.
How long have you been growing it for?
Oh, this is just 2 days.
You've had all these comments in 2 days.
No. I keep on shaving. I'm that person that shaves and then it comes back.
Yeah.
So by tonight, it'll just be a full beard again, so you won't see the moustache.
Yeah.
Like a Play-Doh barber shop doll.
Exactly.
To be fair, so am I.
It's
Grows
okay,
incredibly
it's not
fast. No, but what I mean is, but that no, but what I mean is, I understand that, but like, why do you keep? Is this as long as you want it?
No, like I could definitely grow it a little bit longer. I mean, I'm not sure if I will, just because I don't know. Because so many people, right? I'm on the fence about this, and actually, your opinion would be really helpful. Okay, so apparently, if you're like clean shaven, because I'm usually quite clean shaven, or I try to be, and then it comes back an hour later or whatever. But clean shaven, I look one way, and then obviously with the moustache, some people have said, "Oh my gosh, I actually think you look really attractive now," and then before they didn't. But people who fancied me with a clean shaven face are now like, when are you shaving that? It's really interesting. You get like you're getting a different dating pool by just having a moustache.
See, that might help, David.
No problems.
Yeah, so
do that. So, no, because that's weird, isn't it? So we can see what. Don't do that.
What?
I'll send you a picture.
But you love it.
I love it.
Well, that's the end of that conversation. My hair is the most divisive thing that I have ever done. Do you know what? I don't even think it's that divisive. I think people don't like it, but it makes me really happy.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. If it makes you happy, fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, it's.
It just has the consequence that you'll die alone. But like, I'll be happy, so it's fine.
We all die alone, even if surrounded by loved ones. You make that firm
it's
step
fine.
on your own.
It's fine. No,
Unless
I think it looks good. Keep it.
Thanks.
that's Is that
Until
your
tomorrow.
fashion advice?
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've given you permission.
Tick. David's been nice.
That's that done for the month then, isn't
I
it?
don't know that. I'm not sure anybody really thinks that's mediocre, though.
Oh, they do. And I'm sure that they do. I mean, people have said, and which is mediocre, right? I feel like that's mediocre.
I
When
suppose,
someone goes,
yeah, a couple of people have
yeah.
said that noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. the
Isn't that better
worst.
than
Yeah.
isn't that better than them hating it, though?
No, because
actually.
that's, yeah.
Oh, God.
Well,
'Cause if
leave
they
you two
hate
to it.
If they hate it, do something about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can, but if it's on the
But why?
fence-
Because you love it. So why would you do something about it?
Because I do care about what people think of me.
Right, there it is. Okay.
But for now, it's here and on this couch.
Okay.
Well, at least, I mean, we are recording this in November, so you can pretend it's November inspired.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
didn't
not
see
raising
that.
any money for it. God, now I feel
It's all
bad.
about awareness. It's about awareness.
Oh yeah, so another thing that I probably would say is car sex. I mean, loads of people think, it's that noise again. But loads of people think it's like, oh, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. But car sex, I think, is pretty good. You know, it's not mediocre.
What do you drive? That was
I don't think that's the point, is it?
no, but I'm wondering if he has a particular type of car.
That doesn't turn me on. It's not the car that turns me on, and I do drive a Mini. So right now, car sex is off the menu.
I was going to say, not a lot of space.
No, but I have really fond, is that a good way of saying it? I don't know. I have fond memories growing up where obviously I wasn't out to my parents until I was 18. So like that year, that first year, I remember like, car sex was kind of like, okay, this is good. Like it's a good, I sound like such a pervert. Don't I? Look at your face. Can we just stick to moustaches?
I think this is great content.
I once had a sort of dating type situation with an American who had a Mustang, and I made him drive me around London, and then we had sex in the car just because I wanted to feel like I was going to prom.
Yeah.
I wasn't wearing a dress. I didn't do the full.
Well, obviously, you weren't wearing a dress. Well,
Oh, a Mustang. Yeah, that was better than
Yeah.
my one. I think mine was a Polo.
well, and I can't partake in this, so
Maybe you should. Maybe that's what you
because
need
you
to
don't
go
like
and do.
cars or because you don't have sex.
because my parents watch this.
Oh.
In that case, I'm sorry.
They don't know you. It's fine.
They do now. Read my book.
My mum wanted to. I wouldn't let her. But no, I will do. I just needed to finish it.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I guess there's lots of mixed opinions on that. It's space, and I guess maybe it's practice.
I think, yeah, it's not always the best.
And what you're really talking about is nostalgia. I think
Yes,
it sounds like what
okay.
you really like is cruising. You're like, I like it when we used to have to meet in toilets. That's what you're saying. Okay.
You know what I don't? This is sort of related. Baths together. I've never understood.
Sorry?
Bathing, baths.
Oh, baths.
Baths. Sorry, this is where my northern meets my
It's like
southern acquired
bars.
mangle the word baths. Baths. Having a bath together, two people in a bath. There's never enough space.
Yeah.
I think
Unless it's a jacuzzi.
unless
right?
it's a jacuzzi, yes.
I know. It's
When you
sort
see
of
them in
made-
films and things, obviously I appreciate a film, and it's just
But normally, often the films are American and the bathtubs are bigger.
and the people are tinier.
Oh, in films they are, not in America in general, but yeah, in
Yeah.
films, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
In reality, it's not that good.
it's
for
not that good, and the water
Not
doesn't
in
exactly
bath.
help.
No.
Good.
So there you go. I'm so glad I shared that second
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. What do you think? So, last question. What is mediocre about you?
Oh, this is hard as well because I'll tell you why this is hard. Because I'm really trying to do this thing, which I think is a really positive thing, of not like shaming myself
Yeah.
or like trying to be a bit more positive because I think it's really easy to be down on yourself and stuff. That
But before you go on, then, the whole point is that being mediocre is not a bad thing.
absolutely.
So it's
And I
not
agree.
like going in on yourself. But people do find this question really triggering. We didn't realise when we
But I do
started.
think you kind of pick the least favorite bit of you, or
But it's
or
about
whatever.
being able to celebrate that
Exactly. So I think the most mediocre bit about me,
we're going to celebrate, that we're going to hold a party for.
I'm not sure if you want me, but on my feet. Oh, again, those faces.
Well, they look. I mean, they're very nice boots. Are they boots or shoes? What are we calling those? Boots. Boots.
I'd say like boots. Yeah.
Oh, nice socks
What
as well,
specifically?
actually.
Yeah, they are nice socks. What specifically about your feet?
Well, do you know what? For so long, okay,
I'm
Cloven
really
footed.
conscious. I'm trying to hide my feet so that
let's
nobody
all
can.
show our feet. For so long, so I'm a size 7.5, sometimes 8.
I could borrow your shoes.
Yeah, and for a man, like I used to like be like, oh my gosh, you have to have big feet or whatever and stuff like this
Looking at me like
because
that.
it means
Yeah.
whatever. But which is a total lie.
It's a total lie. I dated a guy with size 14 feet. He had to have shoes specially made.
And
It's a lie.
Okay, that's all we're saying because Mum's watching. But yeah, so the size was one thing, but also like I don't, you know, when people say, "Oh yeah, I've got really nice hands, really nice feet," I don't love my feet. Like they're all right. They're just like so. I just think mediocre.
I have horrible feet, and my feet are smaller than yours.
What size are you?
Not gonna say.
I'm gonna guess. Can I?
Let's not do that.
Okay.
Do you know what? I worked with somebody who could guess your shoe size correctly just by looking at you.
well, it's not that hard, is it? It's going to be.
It's quite difficult.
Well, there's most people, most adult.
Guess each other's.
Oh, she'll be like a 14 or something. No, well, you just said so 7.5, 7.
7.
I'm a 7 too.
I think the thing with feet and being mediocre as well is like a lot of people have foot fetish, right?
Yeah.
So like, and I'm just like, if someone wanted to go down to my feet, I'd be like,
No.
I don't think you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Well, let's
Oh,
hit it off
I
the
don't.
menu.
my feet are super ticklish
I-
anyway.
Oh yeah.
Don't like people's feet touching me in bed.
No, awful.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's. Ugh.
But yes.
Luckily, it's very rarely a problem sleeping alone. So, it's
So,
absolutely
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
If you're sleeping alone in someone's feet,
Oh, maybe that's the problem.
Big
actually.
So feet mediocre, along with my dating life.
your dating life is mediocre.
I think so. Yeah.
The
Oh, God,
book
there's
makes
no
it
hope
sound
for
quite.
any of us then.
The book makes it sound quite interesting. You dated 100 people in a year.
I did date 100 people in a year for a bit of an experiment, but it doesn't mean it's a good dating life. Like just because you date a lot or date not enough, it's the actual quality of the dates your face is. Oh my God. I'm not sure if this is like confused or judgment or
Definitely judgment.
all of the above.
It just sounds exhausting. I'd have to leave the house a lot.
Yeah, it is exhausting, but I was kind of on a mission because I really didn't want to be single at that time. I'm happily single now. Call me.
We'll put his Instagram in there. In the links.
Please do. My phone number. But yeah, I think dating is mediocre because I feel like the majority of dates you have are average. And it's very rare that you have like sort of, oh my gosh, that was a really great date. And it's the sad truth. I think because, especially dating in London, I find that there's just so much going on. People are dating so many different people. There's so many apps that you can be on. You're kind of not putting your all into dating. So in that case, it's mediocre for me.
I think that's
So it's
reasonably well argued.
I accept that, and I think
I'm glad you accept.
No, yes,
Like
I
anyone
think we
cares.
might be quite horrendous people.
Oh,
is what I'm
well,
taking out from this
yeah.
today.
And
Quite
this is
judgmental
why I
and awful.
haven't dated 100 people in a year. or 3.
or however. It's like not putting you all into it, isn't it? Because there's always another one coming along tomorrow, or not. But there's always another one coming along tomorrow.
But I think that's a mentality, isn't it? That
Yeah.
You can just continue to date. Like, and I think that's the thing. Like,
I don't know. I can't relate to this because I can't get a date for love nor money. So don't know what we're talking about.
I feel bad.
Oh dear.
Do you fancy a drink?
Please stop clamming. No, because apparently you're mediocre at it. So
I've really painted myself, and this is why I'm single.
would you go on first dates?
Oh my goodness, maybe.
I absolutely would because I think I'm quite good on a first date.
I kind of think that, yeah, you've got to sort of be open-minded, be like, and so yeah, I potentially would.
Yeah, I think I think it would be a fun experience.
Would you go on first dates? Are you single? Or?
Yeah, I'm single. Yeah.
Very single.
After
I can tell by your necklace.
yeah. Not in service, or indeed being serviced.
Decommissioned, I think.
Hey, where can I get one of those?
They've put me up in bricks and taken the wheels off, haven't they? And there's weeds growing
You've
through the
been
floorboards.
sold for scrap. You can get one from Tatty Divine.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Love. Big fan of Tatty Divine. Yeah, I think so. Well, also I like attention, so any excuse to get on TV and I'd be there.
Oh, God,
but
that-
more
Might need your
importantly,
love as well.
There's that. Would you go on the holiday one, actually? I don't think I'd go on the holiday one. That feels a bit more intense.
I was actually booked for the holiday one.
Oh my God, were you not going to say that when I was like, would you go on
No,
first dates?
because at the time I couldn't do it because of work commitments and stuff. And I kind of think like, I'm not sure, you need 3 days, just to let you know. So if you can clear your schedule for 3 days,
I don't want to be on TV in swimming stuff.
then you don't have to.
But you'd be there.
Wear a wetsuit and be different. That will stand you
Yeah,
out.
would.
From it.
Yeah.
Hard.
I-
Do you remember the wetsuit?
You are
man?
going to find this hard to believe, but I do not often have trouble standing out. So
Really?
it's any help in that department. Like,
nothing to make you look any weirder.
exactly. No, but like on the holiday one, they always film them like in their room, like when they're getting ready and that. I'd have to turn up.
Ironing, usually. I mean,
Ironing,
who
on the phone
irons?
call.
Who
Hi.
irons?
Sorry.
She told me my jumper needed ironing,
Well,
which it does.
yeah.
Guys, I don't really iron anything.
don't iron anything.
think.
I don't iron much. It's just
Unless a shirt.
One thing has been ironed
can't-
this year, and it was by her for me.
Yes.
Nothing else. Nothing else has been ironed this whole year.
I was being a nice friend. I was not subservient. I feel important to say that this.
Yeah, I think you were dealing with a stress, David, for something or other.
Oh, I mean,
It was a Tuesday.
no, sit down.
It was any
He was
old
awake.
day. Great. Yeah, good. Well, I think let's, on that note,
He was awake.
shady bitch. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Daniel, I like you. I think you can stay.
Oh, God.
In fact, do you want to host a podcast together, Daniel?
It's far too much work,
Never
trust
leave
me.
you.
She got lost on the way
I
here.
know. And we've been here 8 times.
Yeah, and she still got lost and rang me. All I've managed to do is get Pepsi Max because that's all I'm good for.
Yeah. And it
Anyway.
was this morning. Anyway.
So, Daniel, where can we get the book?
So it's available in all good bookstores and online, but also obviously support local. There's some really nice gay and queer stores, especially in London. Gay's the Word, The Common Press, Backstory, some really nice ones. So
And where can we find you online?
on Instagram and Twitter at Daniel J. Harding, and on Twitter at Daniel J. Harding 4, because all the other ones were taken. So
Nice.
yeah, follow, share, join the
Great.
conversation.
And read the book. It's really good.
Really good.
Thanks very much for listening. That's all for this week. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. David Ian, or you can check out my website for where Mediocre Gay is playing next at www.davidian.co.uk. It is coming back to London in January as part of Vault Festival, so check it out.
And you can follow me online at KTS Dale on Instagram, and also follow us on Queer Comedy Club. We've got some club nights coming up, both Pro nights and Amateur nights, and we've got some great gigs.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Mediocre Gay, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. It helps other people find the show.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Mediocre Gay Pod, or share your mediocre secrets with us on mediocregaypod@gmail.com.